Hello, welcome back to the PGL America's Minor. We are on game 2 of day 2. It is Misfits and CLG, and I am now joined on the desk by Anders and Moses. How are you guys doing?
It's very well.
Welcome to the desk again.
I appreciate it, James.
You happy to be back?
Nothing makes me happier.
I was going to say happy.
You don't sound sure, though.
It's a strong
Anders.
word, isn't it?
Why? Why would you not be happy to be here?
No, I am happy. I think this game is going to be an interesting one. I think everyone is just writing Misfits off, but not me.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll have a talk
Yeah.
about Misfits in a moment. What's up, Moses? You right?
Anders just likes to make the ridiculous predictions so that he
Okay.
can call back on it and be like, look, I was right, but if he's not right, no one's going to remember it.
I'll write down these predictions.
When was the time that I was right again?
Yeah. See, this is what he did.
I'm trying to think. There were like quite a few times.
He's been saying Astralis would win the major for 2 years now. And when they finally did it, he's just like, see, I've been calling it for 2 years.
So when are Misfits going to win a major?
Never.
0% chance?
Sadly, 0% chance that they'll win a major. It's a bit of a
No
shame.
risk in that one, is there?
No. I feel comfortable.
Okay, we're gonna have a look at the two teams that we've got coming up. First, we're going to look at CLG. Yesterday, Moses, we spoke a lot about them on the desk through some of the Reddit questions.
Yeah.
Give me a rundown of this team and what we can expect from them in their brief recent history.
Yeah, I mean, in recent history, obviously, the big thing is FNS coming back as the in-game leader, and he's really got Cutler playing much, much better, back to his previous level where he was one of the better and more sought-after players in the North American region. Big thing as well that came out from those conversations on Reddit was a little Twitter interaction where they have a coach named Imapet who, is one of the rare coaches who was never a player on the professional level, was never really playing too deep into the competitive scene, just someone who kind of came up through the ranks of being a fan, of doing some of his own analysis, somehow got involved with them and is now their coach after their previous coach departed, Garrett, GRT. And they have a lot of confidence in Imapet, and they say that he's brought a lot to this team. They said he does so much work, and without him, they wouldn't kind of be on this upswing we see them in. Now, obviously, they're also benefited from the fact that they've gotten some more tools. Like Kusta's kind of stepped into a little bit more of that potential that he's had for years. Getting Ricky from Renegades was huge benefit to them. Like his skills, he's very, very versatile in being able to use an AWP, being able to use a rifle. So, I mean, with those two impact players, and they have the young star in Ethan who's kind of got to climb his way up. But a lot of things have kind of come together in the right way that turn this team from just the kind of like you just kind of wrote them off for some time. They didn't even have like a roster, basically, to now just being like, this is a team that can start challenging some of the top teams in the region.
And what kind of results have we seen from them recently? Like, have they been since FNS has joined? Have we seen much of them? And have we seen
well, the big one was they were in Kiev at Star Ladder, right? And they played very, very well there. Ricky had a great tournament. Kusta had a great event as well. And they caused some pretty big upsets. They made it into top 8, I believe. I believe they lost in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
But that was kind of like where everyone looked at them, and that was the first time we'd see them in some time at an international tournament with all the best teams in the world there. And no one really looked at them to even get out of the group, I don't think, and they overcame everything, and they did a very, very good job. It was a very good start, right? It was a very good stepping stone for them to say, like, what we've been working on is actually working, is actually producing results. So it's just kind of remains to be seen how high the ceiling is the next question, I think.
How high do you think that ceiling could be, Anders, for CLG?
Very high, knowing Anders.
Yeah, what's your prediction on CLG's future?
I don't know. Like, I think all American teams have this core problem. Like, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but the fact that the talent pool in America is so wide, I feel like it's easier to, if things aren't quite working out, you say, well, maybe the main problem is just we have to swap someone else in. So you just keep sort of swapping players around, forever and ever, and it seems like there's not too much, individual development. And maybe I'm wondering if that's because of that, Whereas, like we said yesterday, if you're in Finland or Norway or something and you want to play with people who speak your language, then you're forced to do that,
I actually really liked that point when you brought it up yesterday. I agreed with you on that one, but I think in a more micro sense. I mean, back in the day, being an old guy, I can say that. We didn't have that much of an issue because, back in the early 2000s with teams in 1.6, the internet wasn't good enough. So if you were an East Coast player, you couldn't be on a team with West Coast players. So it very much was still split up, not by like country, but just by region. Like, there was always teams were based around like a core of Texas players. Yeah. Teams were based around a core like 5 East Coast players, 5 centralized players, and then the 5 West Coast players, right? So you still kind of had that division that kind of shrunk that talent pool in the region. So you did kind of have to stick with a 5 because the drop off in those regions margins would be a little bit more.
Plus, I would say, when we've been going through the different sort of, revolutions, we had like the Danish one, and we had we've had a couple of Swedish ones, we've had a, French revolution every once in a while. Every time that happens, the dream is someone has like a dream and say, oh, if only we had all these 5 players in one team, that'd be great. But the American ones has always been really weird. It's always been like you get like 2 or 3 out of the players you'd want on a team, and the rest are scattered off somewhere else, and they do different things because it just seems like it's too much. And the players themselves say, it's because everyone's buyouts are too high and they're under contract somewhere else. We can't get like the ultimate team. But you sort of wish that one time you could actually get that one team.
Just blow it up and create the super team.
Yeah.
The one organization that's really shown a willingness to go out and spend is Liquid. I mean, that's like the one organization that's like, we'll pay the buyout. We'll get the team. We want to build the best team in North America. And it hasn't really panned out, actually. Just now starting to look like it could. But, yeah, there's never really been like that North American super team. There was once. Short-lived. Let's not talk about that. Let's not do that.
Okay, well, you touched on the different revolutions, and one of them being the French Revolution, and that kind of leads nicely into Misfits having 2 French players, but it's not really the Misfits that we have grown to know over the last few months, because we have 2 stand-ins in the form of ZQK and Relics. Do you want to run us through the 3 guys in the middle? We're familiar with them, and why it is that we have a couple of backups and a stand-in in the form of them.
Yeah, well, the in-game leader is Sean Gares, obviously, and he just got married. Congratulations to Sean. He was over celebrating and doing all that fun stuff.
I'm sad he was my backup in case I needed that later on.
In case you just randomly need some backup.
No, in case I had to marry someone else.
In case you needed a second go.
Yeah,
Sean was the one.
Yeah,
he's taken off the market, so I'm sorry for your loss. So that's why he's not here. And then it just kind of suddenly happened. Shazam got removed from the roster.
Yeah. So what do we think of that? What do we feel about that? It was because.
What do we think about that?
So it was because the statement was that he wasn't able to make it to the gaming house, right? So. Do we feel like that? How do you feel about that decision?
Wasn't able to make it? Did he fail to take the bus or something?
No, so what the story kind of came out, or at least from Shazam's from what I saw, and I could be incorrect. I think I'm right on this one. It was just all over social media, so it's not like one organized thought. Was that they wanted him to come to the gaming house to boot camp like 2 days before it began or something, and he just didn't want to give up some of the things he had going on at home or whatever it might have been, just on that early of notice, right? Which is like, with that, you almost got to say fair play. If you're an organization looking to boot camp for the minor, that's something that you imagine would be started farther ahead than 2 days to notify everyone. And in that kind of sense, if that's actually the truth of what happened, it does kind of make you feel like there's something else going on, and that's just like the easy excuse to fall on and just say, oh, he can't boot camp.
Did he?
He came out and said he could boot camp. He just said, I can't do it with 2 days' notice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at Tour, when we last saw Misfits with Sean and Shazam really turned up. I think he played really well. Do you think that this 5, having 2 stand-ins, is going to struggle because of both of those 2 regulars out of the team?
Yeah, I think there will be. Well, here's the thing. Relics, I don't know if I'd consider him too much of a stand-in because he was in this roster. He was with them in TSM, right? And then he kind of came in and they took him out of the starting lineup. So, he's a little bit of a stand-in, but in a different kind of way. The real X factor is going to be someone like ZQK, who was originally on the Kaboom and Luminosity lineup that became SK, and he was removed a long time ago. He was their primary opper before Fallen kind of took over that role. But even talking to Taco just recently about that kind of situation, I don't even know how that came up because that's a long time ago. But Taco just said he was one of the most skilled guys. He just thinks ZQK is amazingly talented, and he's going to be he could have been a very impactful player, and he just kind of never did it for reasons outside of the game. Just never got to that level. And I think that's going to be the big thing they miss with Shazam, is that ability to have massive impact with the AWP. They don't seem to have someone in that situation. Shazam himself was known for being up and down, varying performances from online to LAN, so there's no even telling if he would have come into this tournament and had that same impact that we saw at Tours, because he did have a great event there. So, I mean, that was just kind of some of the positives and negatives you would have with Shazam, but certainly it kind of pulls into question who's going to be the guy to really create things on this team, or in this stand-up infused lineup. And
so between these 2 teams, Misfits and CLG, very similar, both sort of American map pools between the 2 of them. What can we expect there? What kind of maps are these 2 teams going to be wanting to play? Do you think?
I feel like as soon as you have 2 stand-ins, all of your maps are just essentially like that whole concept is wrecked.
Especially not even just the stand-ins, but one of them is your in-game leader who's not here. So it's just like
It's very hard to imagine that you could just say, oh well, we used to be pretty good in those maps. Let's try and play those again. Like it won't be the same. But
one guy that actually goes pretty unnoticed on the Misfits lineup is Peacemaker, and I imagine this is how they got ZQK as the stand-in. Peacemaker is
makes
a
sense.
Brazilian coach who's been around the. He's got around to a lot of teams very quickly. He was with Liquid for a while. He was with Optic for a little bit. Now he's with Misfits. I feel like I'm missing one in there somewhere. He was doing Immortals.
He was doing, yeah,
Immortals, and I mean he was coaching Liquid on the run of the grand final in the major. So I mean definitely a coach that's known to be effective, but very very insistent on his style, on how he wants to coach.
Yes.
And I think that's what's rubbed people the wrong way. But either way, CLG obviously with guys like Kustek, with guys like Ricky, very impactful oppers. They can even have the double op setup if they want, which is very strong for them. Maps like Mirage, the open opping maps are getting a nice train. Some cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's find out then, because the veto is ready. So let's find out what they have chosen, and we'll discuss that.
Imagine that.
That's good.
Surprise!
That's really
Surprise.
good.
Yeah.
That's really good. So I was going to say I thought this had to be either Mirage or Cash for Misfits to have even a dream of doing this.
Okay.
And because this is my logic. I was hoping we could bet a pie on it, but Moses here has been a pussy all week, so it's not.
The era of pies is over, Anders. I've had my fun with the pies.
What's next?
You would
Pickles.
not bet a pie on CLG winning this game or Misfits.
No, this is too much. This is a little bit closer.
What-
I already told you. I think Henry really ruined the pies for everyone. We ended up duct taping Henry and dropping him into a bed of pies. You can't go anywhere. You can't go back to just a single pie hit.
That does set we can up it if you want. I feel like you're trying to escalate even further now.
Not with CLG Misfits. We'll find another reason for a pie bet, I'm sure, Anders.
Okay.
Yeah, at some point, like
Okay, we'll make that a
has to be on a big
priority.
stage or something. I don't want to just put like pies all over the studio.
Listen,
TNT.
so
We've all
PGL.
done it.
so I think Misfits are screwed in any best of three scenario in this. So I think this is their one chance to upset the whole situation. I think Cash is the perfect map for it because you don't have to talk too much to your friends. You can just sort of play your own position and linger around. And if you do a pretty good job, there's a chance. I think because I hope that they're not going to try and play as a team. I hope Misfits are going to come in here and just play like the ultimate pug style, where everyone is just essentially playing in FPL terms. Shout out to Bardolph, and you just go that way with it. I think that's the way to do this, and then just hope that CLG won't have time to recover in one map. You win one pistol, you just stroll on in, and they don't even know what's happening. I think that's the way to go about this.
Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty dangerous pick for CLG to allow it to get here, because you have to imagine they have the deeper map pool. Go for a map that's a little bit more that requires a little bit more complications, a little bit more teamwork. This is a map, especially in NA, you see this get very, very loose. And even if you're an organized team, it's very easy to lose control of this map just with like one death. If you can't control mid, even as an organized team, which is a very big struggle at the moment for everyone, then you can find yourself really, really behind the times. So this is I feel this is kind of a gamble to let it all the way through. Either way, Misfits is, definitely going to be happy with it. Yeah. I would have liked to seen something different. I guess I'm just going to harp on that point.
No, but I mean, I agree. They shouldn't have let it through. Now that Dust 2 isn't in the pool, but if they had let Dust 2 through, it'd be saying the same thing. Like, why are you doing that? Because now you're leaving yourself vulnerable to the other team, just sort of pugging their way through. The best of one, at least.
Yeah, and I mean, Misfits is going to love that, especially like a guy like Relics has had some big cash games. If you think back to E-League Season 2 when he was still with Selfless.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's just a lot of opportunities. It's very easy to just like come into this with no set plan, just run a default and kind of go from there. Mid takes, the executions are pretty simple. I think we're just going to see two big T-halves. I think, especially from Misfits, I think their CT side is really going to look like crap.
Yes, it's going to be. That will probably be miserable. I absolutely agree. And I mean, if I'm CLG and I end up starting on the CT side, I would want to play this as like carefully and conservatively as possible. Like I really try and be careful. No risks at all. Just really slow play it and do retakes on A and get all the grenades. And, like I really want to try and slow them down so that they can't get rolling at all.
Yeah, the tough part is going to be if CLG goes into that double op too early and then just blows up their own economy. That's going to be a danger that they have to avoid. So yeah, I think conservative is the right way to kind of play this one. And usually we don't always say that like you should be playing conservatively, but this one is just kind of like, since you don't know what Misfits is going to do, it's better to be conservative and kind of react a little bit than be a little bit too over aggressive, in my opinion at least. I mean, obviously on this map you have to be aggressive at points to make information plays on the CT side. That's going to be a very tight rope they have to walk.
Yeah, sometimes it can be dangerous going the conservative route. You end up losing half your parliament, so it's good times. Right there.
So we're still just waiting for Misfits to. We're just waiting for Misfits to set up and get on the stage, as we just saw there. But first, we do have some social media questions from you guys at home. You've been sending them in on Reddit. The first one is, if communication is not a problem, what super team would you create? From Sleepy CS North.
That's an intense question. So I think what they're saying here is if nationalities don't matter.
Yeah, I suppose.
Would you still go with 5 Danish players? You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Dirty Danish
Astralis. Just go straight for it.
Demented man.
The thing is, these games are sort of fun to play. They are fun to play, you know. It's like, oh, we could match everything together. But the problem is, it's like, because communication, and you say communication. I think communication is actually, it's not the primary obstacle. I think, like, personality is, you know. I almost wish I could. I would rather play the game where you say, what if you took out personality out of it and just said, you know, like, if in terms of raw skill, you know.
Let's do that then. Maybe that comes under communication. Kind of. They don't have to communicate. It's just pure skill. Which 5 players would you put together as a super team?
Well, the Danes already don't have personality, so you're good.
There we go. I'd probably go with like, you know, Device, Snacks, Cold Syrup. I might actually. I think I pick Fallen probably. And then and then maybe Kenny. Might be.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Kevy.
No.
Kenny, that's a pretty op-heavy lineup.
Yeah. Well, I like that. You know. I like the big guns.
The big guns.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Of course.
All right, I'll play this game. I'd probably put Fur in there. I'd probably pick Kenny as the opper. I would take. Ooh, that's interesting. I think I would take I would take Glaive, I think, as an in-game leader.
All right, yeah.
I think that'd be quite cool. Snacks, yeah, you can't go away from that one. And I'm missing a 5th player. You know what? I throw Body in there. I think Body's a good shout. Get some utility.
That's cool.
Get some passive playing. You know.
All right.
Yeah. I'm on the. Henry's on this train as well. We're big fans of Body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't blame you. He has been playing really out of the. Yeah, I just think you have to admire where he sort of came in from, because he was. I think he was picked over a lot of other French players that people would have preferred initially during that first rotation of French players. Mm-hmm. Everyone was like, why is this happening? You know?
Well, that was the big argument, right?
Yeah.
Why Body over Scream?
Yeah, exactly, right? So pretty big shoes to fill, pretty big name to try and replace. And I think that would actually intimidate a lot of people. So the fact that he kept his head down and sort of trusted in himself to actually make that sort of comeback and really become a really, really good player. I think that's amazing.
Well, if you think about it, because he was brought into the G2 lineup when they were really, really struggling still in the previous year, and had some good results, but that was essentially his tryout. You know, like when they're forming this team, they don't have to like try out anyone, because they were just like, we've already had you on the team. We know what kind of personality you are. We know what kind of player you are. We know what you can and can't do. And we know all we've seen out of you is improvement since you came in. That was the tryout. And with Scream, there's already a known quantity. They know what they're going to get in terms of in-game. They know what they're going to get in terms of out-of-game, and they're saying, we need something else.
I have a question, though. This isn't in social media. It's just my interest. Would either of you ever wear a romper, you know?
Describe a romper to me.
Jesus.
It's like like one of those sort of bodysuit things, but it cuffs over the legs. It's like bodysuit with shorts.
Oh, like dungarees, but half onesie, half dungaree.
That's what I mean.
Would I ever wear them?
Well, it's become
for a joke or for
no,
it's become male fashion.
It's a male fashion thing now.
You know, they also have like lace shorts for men now.
Yes.
I'd want to see you in this.
I can't see myself doing that. Maybe
I think you'd look good with lace shorts.
Maybe this will be the first fashion trend where I've always thought, where like people who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s now must look at some 20-year-olds and be like, why the hell are they wearing that?
Maybe that's the next
I'm going to get to that point. Maybe kids are going to, like, teenagers, trendy kids are going to be wearing rompers, and I'm going to be the one going,
I think you could.
I'm too old for that.
You could pull it off, though.
You think I could pull off a romper?
I think you could.
Photoshop that.
I think...
Careful.
I think people would call the police if I did it.
I think, well, maybe.
I think that happens.
I think that's the next evolution. Maybe instead of just a straight-up pie bet, maybe it's, getting a romper and then get slapped with a pie.
Where do the pickles come in?
Listen, that's in the privacy of your own home.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Don't need a romper for that.
Yeah, you need a dark room.
I like to.
where you can't even see your own chain.
Yeah, you.
No, I like it when it's light. I prefer to watch. So, should we have another question from
We
Reddit?
should have another question.
Probably a good idea.
Who would be a good
Sponge.
in-game leader for Cloud9 from
Sponge.
Yeah,
Joshua
I'm
Lorber.
voting for that as well.
$20,000 a month.
Dazed?
That's a deal. Can you though?
Yeah.
Okay.
What would happen? What if you just defied the rules? They would just pick
Well, you
Dazed?
never go to a major again.
What if
Then the argument becomes, do you actually need a major? But I mean, if you're a team like Cloud9, I think
you're not
to
going to major anyway? What if he changed his name and identity?
Yeah, like wore a mustache, I guess you're saying, or are you going like for full surgical change?
Yeah, like what's the?
Maybe that's the play. Maybe
What if he became Samantha instead?
Yeah.
Could he get out? Could he get out of it that way?
I don't think so. Let's get a new Steam idea.
Surely that's
Steam
not part
idea,
of the
that
rules.
seems like
Surely they haven't accounted for that in the rules.
well, then
set.
you could just call it discrimination, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think
All Daze has to do is become a woman. and
So
then
it would be
he'll allowed
Dazed.
in, yeah.
It would be Dazed would be the choice.
yeah.
No, I wouldn't
No.
do that. I wouldn't do that if I was Cloud9. That's a little bit of a troll thing. He
Yeah,
knows
yeah.
it.
But who would you actually
He would
choose?
be a
Who
very
would
good
that-
in-game leader. The only thing that holding it, he would obviously be a good in-game leader. We've seen him be a good in-game
Yes.
leader. But the only thing holding it back is the majors. Legitimately, you'd have to really look outside of NA. I think. I don't think there's any. Because here's the thing with a team like Cloud9, like you can't consider this like a building phase, right? Like you can't bring in someone young who's never done it and give them like 3-4 months to kind of get used to it. They're doing that with Stewie right now, and he's already had like a year, half a year under the helm, basically.
Actually, do we have like a couple of minutes before the game goes live? Is this
Yeah,
that
yeah,
what we're saying?
sure.
All right,
Yeah,
okay.
we have.
This
So
is Phil mode, Anders.
So right, good. So if we are building on this theory that part of the challenge in the American environment is that you have so many people to choose from, you're more likely to sort of swap out players rather than try and work with players to develop some sort of cohesion and maybe just even develop players individually. I think that problem becomes even worse for in-game leaders because I think that in the in-game leader spot you have two problems in my opinion. One is you're always going to be the target for criticism when things don't work out, and people get tired of you much faster than they do almost everyone else. Just
It's like being the quarterback in American football.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's almost self-explanatory why that would be. So that's the problem. But it's worse than that because then once you become unpopular in the team, because you're the in-game leader and you're less likely to be getting sort of like all the star highlight frags and everything, you have less career opportunities once you move on, right? Some other organization is going to look at you and think, well, yeah, but they say he's not really a good leader. That's why they're getting rid of him. Plus, he's not really getting a lot of kills. So you're actually almost asking to be put in a terrible position where you're going to get burnt, especially if the whole environment says, yeah, there is a big turnover in players all the time, and we just swap players out. It's a pretty big problem, actually.
I don't know about that one. If you're a mediocre in-game leader in North America, you can always find a job. That is like build your career on that. You don't even have to be great.
Yeah, but can you?
True NA dream, right there.
But can you become a really great one? Can you
You can, yeah,
get
you
the
can. I'm
skills
just saying, like as an in-game leader, if there's anyone who wants to make it as a professional player in North America at the moment, if you focus and become an in-game leader, every team is looking for an in-game leader. Think about it.
Who would have a good mind for it that isn't one right now? Like someone who's just like you would throw into it.
It's hard to say that. There's a lot of people that have a good mind for it, but you also have to have the personality for it, right? You have to command the respect enough. You have to be able to like run practices. There's a lot more going in-game leading than there is than just calling the tactics. I mean, I think even like that. Here's another one, like Automatic. He has a great mind for it. It's just he doesn't have the personality. Doesn't have enough time to work through like Cloud9 is trying to win right now, right?
Yeah.
So they tried switching over to Automatic, and it's not working. That's why they've gone back to Stewie again for these major qualifiers. It's just there's so much more that goes into it than that, and especially I mean that's when you start looking at having a coach, having an analyst, having all these different tools that can help back you up, so the in-game leader doesn't feel all that pressure. But still, there's a lot of players that have a good mind for it, I think. I don't think like the in-game leading, like the strategy part of it, like this overarching strategy. I think there's a lot of leeway in terms of like your early round calling. Like you can be a decent in-game leader who just has like some ways to set up the rounds. It's when you get to the middle portions of the rounds, and at that time also you're trusting in teammates as well. And this isn't to like belittle or create like less importance around the in-game leading role, but when you get into the mid round, the in-game leader sets up like the idea, and that comes from the practice, right? The in-game leader sets up the game plan through all the times of practice. This is how this strategy wants to work. This is how it's designed. This is the goal. And once you get into the middle portions of the round, you really have to trust all the calls that are coming from your teammates. And oftentimes it's not always the in-game leader who's making a mid-round call. It's someone else saying, like, this is what I sense on the map. This is what I feel. This is kind of what I think is happening based off my game sense of playing these guys in the past. We need to do this. This needs to happen right now. And because those things need to occur, like, basically, like, instantly, within, like, 2 seconds, you can't just allow an in-game leader to, you know, feed him the information, let him think on it for a second, and then make the decision. Sometimes it is the player on the other side of the map who's saying, guys, this can win this round. I'm doing this right now. And usually it's not even up for debate. Yeah, that's when you get into the point where you just have to trust the calls of your teammates.
Okay, guys, thank you for answering those questions.
You're welcome.
We are going to go into the game very soon. I want to get very quick predictions. I know we feel like this is going to be quite one-sided.
No, Anders is crazy.
Yeah. I think like
Very
I
quickly.
said, the puck style Misfits.
Misfits.
And Kusta we trust. CLG.
Okay, cool. We're going to bring in the casters. It is Chadakist.
Hi.
Oh,
we're
wow.
not leaving you. Don't
Oh,
think
wait.
we're leaving
Oh,
you.
so- okay.
We're here to have a
Banter.
conversation.
When they said bring in the banter, I thought it was just going to be you two bantering against each other.
Do you want to give your Cloud9 your 3-month plan that we talked about?
Nah.
3-month plan.
Look.
I usually like 9-month plans, but go ahead and give me your 3 months.
Chad-
Nah,
Oh God.
I don't even remember it. I just
Why
like
has
that
he done that?
Jason's trying to sell me as an in-game leader. He gets commission on it. So you know how I wanted 20K a
Yeah, I
month?
know. Yeah.
Jason gets
10% for the first 6 months.
Why? First off, you're underselling yourself at 20K.
You think so?
Yeah,
50?
no, I guarantee you, if I get my foot in the door,
Okay.
I can almost double that, and I will only take 15. Jason is asking way too much.
Jason, anything to say to that?
He's not even good at what he's not. He's not.
Who would you actually trust in this situation, Chad?
Well, you have the ties to the North American teams. What do you have, Matthew?
So you want to be on a losing franchise?
I didn't want to join a European team. I just want a retirement fund.
Well, that's basically what all
Yeah.
the North American teams are actually. Yeah, they don't even have to win games.
Sign me up.
Yeah, good point. Jason, he's going to sign up with you. You're a terrible agent, but you've won this one.
No, I'm getting him exactly what he wants. What do you want from, like, what else can you do?
I can get him more than what he wants.
Would
Don't believe
you?
You and your 9-month plan?
And some
Yeah.
pickles.
9 months. That's all you need.
In this
You can't abort on my
in this
plan.
newly reformed Cloud9 lineup, can the uniforms be rompers instead?
Sure. I liked it when they had the tank tops.
Actually, I've invented something better than just a romper, which would be ergonomic at games. If Freakazoid were there, it wouldn't have sleeves if he was still on the team. It'd be really good. You can store a lot of stuff in the rompers. And then the mouse wouldn't be a mouse. It would be a fidget spinner with a sensitivity you could set.
He's just lost the plot. hasn't
You
he?
have lost the plot a
You're
little bit
such
there,
a
Matt.
millennial.
So
No, I hate it all.
you guys were doing predictions and wrap-ups. Am I right to believe that Anders has gone insane?
I mean, to be fair, it is cash, and it is a little bit of a puggier team. There's a universe in where
Okay.
it's
Let
not
me-
assume CLG is like this dominant squad, but I do still think he's gone insane. But we've known that for some time.
That the thing is, I object to that phrasing because you make it sound like it's something that's happened right now, and I think it's been a long time.
It's been a
coming.
while.
You snapped about
so-
6-7 months ago.
Yeah.
didn't you?
Let me
so,
lay down the law here, okay?
Do it,
CLG played Renegades the other day on this map. I watched it live unfold in front of my eyes. Renegades only had aggression on the CT side. What do you think a Pug team's going to have? Aggression. They got slammed. These defaults from CLG were amazing, picking everyone off. And then within the system, players like Ricky and Kusta, Jason's boy, were able to flourish. And I think on LAN, there's going to be more of that. These guys have a lot more experience than these French guys. It's a no-brainer. Why would you be going against CLG?
So
We already theorized about Anders' prediction. process.
you
All right.
you're saying they beat some Australians, and so that
Here
means
we go.
you can, I just think that's a weak point. I just think I
The amount of times I've knocked a Danish team out of a major qualifier, Anders, I can count it on one hand, but still too many. It's still too many.
I think we're
All
going to
right.
be going into the game very soon, so
Oh,
thank
that's a
you
shame.
guys on the desk.
You guys look great. You sound great.
Thank you.
Have a very nice cast.
Yeah,
awesome.
thanks. Good to get rid of you.
All right.
That was a bit...
Honest.
Yeah, I think
Honesty
so.
is the best token I offer.
Yeah, so I think, just for people playing at home, which would be everybody watching, Misfits they were just setting up.
Actually, you're wrong, Chad. The viewership figures said 30% of the people that watch Counter-Strike don't play at home.
Oh, no, but that's kind of like, when you do the game shows, the game shows, like, oh, those people playing at home. That's kind of
I
what
get
it is.
what you're saying, Chad, but you're wrong.
Okay, I like being wrong. But where do you have this one going, Matthew?
CLG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's much you could say. There's just too many variables right now for Misfits, isn't there? You bring in 2 stand-ins. I mean, in some ways that can create an unknown entity, but CLG themselves are a little bit unknown. They're still developing as a team. They're still changing a few things around. I think they are. We said yesterday, the dark horse. They're the team on the rise. I think they easily get into a winner's match position. Whether they get through the group or not, what comes down to the decider, that's yet to be seen. But I think that they're in a good spot in this game.
Yeah, I think that the structure from CLG is going to be very strong, right? They've been building on that, and it looks good. And I said yesterday that I think they always do good against higher tier international opponents than their other American counterparts on a consistent basis. They might not win those matches, but they're putting up 10, 11 rounds and making it seem competitive. And that's something which is difficult to do. Obviously, winning the game would be a much better thing to pull off. But to be consistent and have a system where you can get to that point is very impressive. The only way that I can see anything happening for Misfits in this match is if individuals step up and make plays, right? Yeah. They do have Peacemaker behind them as the coach to read the plays, to dictate strategies, to give them a good understanding of how the game needs to unfold. But the individuals are the ones who are going to make it happen. We have 2 people speaking French English, right? We have 1 guy speaking Brazilian English.
They call it Fringlish.
And then we have 2 guys speaking
Franglais.
Speaking Donald Trump. So, you know, there's a big mixture of languages here, and that is going to be an issue.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is that if they're speaking Donald Trump, everything they say is a lie. So if they say they're going A, I would go B.
Okay. Yeah, I can see the logic behind that one. You saw Ricky just there before on your screen, the Australian. He was playing with Renegades. He did actually replace...
Oh, yeah, tell me more about him.
He replaced me, actually.
Like I had to think about that one.
Yeah,
wait,
no,
what?
He was a very sporadic AWPer, right? In the days, he's one of those guys who he was a main AWPer and has the potential to be a main AWPer, but is also very proficient with the rifle. So I think players like that, Kuster is another one who's like that. But I think, you know, someone has to stick to their guns and stay with it. In a team where you can potentially have 2 main AWPers, I don't think changing up that position is a good thing to do unless, you know, you've put in a good 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year into it, and then you've gone, okay, now we'll change it. I don't want teams to lose an event or have a bad performance and go, oh, maybe I'll give the head AWPing position to this guy. You need to stick with it. I think that's the best thing about an AWPer is confidence, the fact to be a little bit arrogant and be aggressive and, you know, initiate. And those are things which both Kuster and Ricky can do. So the fact that they can supplement each other is a pretty dangerous duo.
We have to start. Quard01 says we have to start. So.
Oh, sorry, dude in Twitch chat who's a moron who thinks that we are the ones delaying this game.
Caster, stop yell.
Boy, oh boy. It's 9:30 at night here. This guy doesn't realize we're going to be here until 7 a.m. local. We want to start. We want to get going. I'm ready and raring for some Counter-Strike. Here we go. Oh, we're back on us.
Apparently, I'm also a salty little shit because I don't like Donald Trump. So I enjoy reading Twitch chat. I miss Twitch chat.
What do you think of my shirt done up all the way, Matt?
I'll do that.
I was thinking maybe I'll do this.
I was actually really hoping that if I wore the maroon one today, you'd
accidentally
wear. Yeah, we would wear the same
I put that one away. That one's been retired for the trip until I get home.
Until you're away from me.
Yeah, maybe I'll do it in Atlanta.
There. How's that?
Yeah, nice. Don't I think it because we're not clean and shaved.
So it makes us look proper even though we're messy.
Yeah, sleeves are rolled up, and then it's like, oh, that's nice.
I get it.
Yeah. We're going to have a social media question.
That's why we have our TV here. That's why we're actually checking ourselves out right now. We're very conceited.
Social media question coming our way, hot and fast, off the Reddit thread.
Oh, most memorable game I've ever casted. You want to go first?
It doesn't count for me. I've casted like
Flush
6
it, doesn't
games.
give up.
Oh, when I did a casual cast from my bedroom.
Oh, let's turn that down.
That was not really a cast, I wouldn't say. But Matt, you're the one who can answer this question.
Yeah, so I think obviously the most memorable play is it's the Big Apple and Snacks is Hungry, the 1v4. That's got to be the most memorable
for sure
play, which kind of makes it the most memorable game in itself. Just you lump it all together. It was the New York final. It was 2 one-sided maps, both with big clutch moments, and then a really good third deciding map. With a smoke diffuse to win it as well, which I really, really like. It wasn't just like a smoke diffuse like Ninja style. It was like in the middle of chaos.
Yep.
That Navi were able to pick that up. That's definitely up there. What else would be up there? The Star Ladder final was very good. Game 2, G2 versus NIP at the time. With Shocks and Scream G2. Let me think. What else would be up there?
I'm biased.
I think those two would be the two that stand out the most. Sorry?
I really like the Sydney event. Like, obviously, I didn't cast that event, but just
yeah, Sydney was fine.
I liked it because it was my home crowd, right? So I'm very biased in that regard, which is fine. I'm allowed to be biased.
That's true.
Do you think it's good if personalities or, I guess, casters and analysts are biased when doing predictions? Like Anders? Do you think he needs to check himself before he wrecks himself?
No, well, I mean, obviously the Astralis thing was kind of funny. I actually think that in CSGO, I know that there are some casters that certainly do. I'm really not a fan of any particular team anymore. I used to have some teams I really liked. I liked watching Liquid rise up from sort of nowhere when they became from Denial into Liquid and then started getting decent and good results at tournaments. I was very happy for them. I liked the story of watching a team develop and improve.
Okay.
I liked TSM for the same reason when they became to Astralis. Obviously, at that point, they'd already established themselves, and then at that point, there's no longer endearing for me. But so in that case, I like players more than the game itself, or not the game itself, but teams itself. Whereas some casters really like some teams.
Okay.
But I think that in CS we're very good at actually putting our bias away and being very objective.
Yeah, I find our bias is more used for banter between like the other casters and analysts.
Yep.
So
I don't think I can think of a cast where Henry and I were casting a team and had a bias that was apparent toward a team in the game. We might have been critical of one team for mistakes they were making, but that's not a bias. Again, that's objective.
I think you always tend to pick a side when doing that, right? And early, if you see something which you think is just a silly mistake, maybe you'll grind it a little bit too hard instead of being objective on all the scenarios. But in our job, you need to sound concise, right? You need to make sure that you I guess, following through with what you're saying. So there are lots of options in a game like Counter-Strike.
I think so. I think that in that case, the issue is like, let's say a team's getting wrecked 12-3, and then they make a comeback. You tend not to focus on how good they played on their comeback. You focus on the bad start that they had.
Yeah,
which is more of like, it's not really being a bias, but it's because you've set yourself into a rhythm or a habit.
And you also look at the other team as, like you say, that they're like choking, even though the other team might be doing something fantastic to kind of put them in good stead.
So and that's the storyline that kind of ruins you there.
That's the way it gets built, though, right? And I think if you were just to be positive about everything the whole time, you would have a pretty, I guess, boring cast. I don't know. I'm still new at the casting thing. It's not something I thought I'd be doing much of. There's the knife. Over and out. Now, I think the sides are already predetermined. So they just do that to, they enjoy knifing one another.
I enjoy knifing people. I don't get to do it very often.
Okay, so Matt, once again, the American map in the Americas Minor, made by none other than I met him in Dallas, FM Pone.
I didn't actually get to meet him, and I needed to.
Came to the green room. Said hello.
I must have been casting at the time, or just not there.
I think you were casting. I can't. Yeah, I think you.
I haven't get to meet him yet, and I have to speak with him about some stuff coming up soon.
You're gonna
judge the map core.
Remake Tuscan.
We are gonna no, Tuscan and Dust too, and I'm gonna call it Dust. No, you know what? I'm gonna take Dust out of it. Dust Moret's had his glory.
Okay.
I'm gonna call it Chad. We're gonna call it DE_Chad.
Lovely. And speaking of me, we're live.
Good segue. I'll take it. Live indeed. CLG T-side. They're the favorites.
Ricky on the Deagle. He's going to love that. Going to go for an entry frag with that, I'd assume. It's a relatively aggressive approach.
The good news about today's group means we won't have only Brazilians advancing.
Well, you could have, if Misfits advanced and Payne somehow came back and also
get 6 of them.
You could have 7.
But you'd have to get...
Peacemaker.
Okay. Coach is excluded. You could have someone else, though.
Yes. So let's just quickly theorize what could happen here. Ricky getting that Deagle. I like the way that transition. You saw it on maps like Dust 2 being used to pick the USP player at backup platform. Things like that. The Deagle kind of closes that issue down because people's aim is so good now. They're taking that duel. They're popping off the Deagle shots. They're taking it off heads. Just as good as the USP, and it's the closest weapon that you can really, in my mind, take that 1B duel with that the USP provides for the CTs. FNS with a flash, a smoke grenade, and a P250. So he's going to be rumbling around a little bit with that one there. And that's a pretty normal kit for the in-game leader to be finding himself with a bit of utility to obscure a position on the map. Could be used towards forklift, connector, maybe even use it towards B and cover off that CT spawn tree area to give players kind of an entrance into that site. We have 2 flashes on ZQK. We're going to have to work out how to say his name or if we want to give him a different name. Okay.
That's probably not right.
Now, to have 2 flashes, that would mean to me they're either going to do an aggressive play where they flash the CTs in to take a fight, or they're going to use them on the retake. I think on Pissed Around, using them for a fight would be the best play. But it looks like a fast B coming out here as the train making their way swiftly towards the bomb side.
And Relix is in a bit of a problem because he got aggressive. They wanted to take over B tunnels. He got caught in the middle. Couldn't get away from Checker. Amanek made a better call. He backed off early, but he's missing a lot of shots. They're all blind. And he can't hit them because they jump around, but now he's nailing them when they're on the ground. It's 2 kills for him. Ethan and Kusta go down. Ricky's managed to pull one back, but they've actually pulled the advantage away of the CTs. Good shot, FNX, as he runs back away from Devedek. And it means the bomb, although it's in the site, it's still got a bit of a problem because it's alone. He can't afford to go for the plant until FNS, or Finesse, as his full name is, gets closer to his position on the platform. Deagle shot comes out. Deagle as well, without armor. So that's a self-bought Deagle. That's Nico style.
It sounds scary when you hear that ring off as a CT bomb. We'll get planted. Going for a safe plant right now. Oh, he's faked it and still trying to face.
The problem is that when he's faking it and gets the face from Sick, fair enough. FNS hits the other shot. That works well. I was going to say the problem is when he's faking it and pulling the attention, FNS isn't capitalizing, but somehow he did find the kill.
Those flashes did play a bit of a role in the round. It allowed that T push onto the side to get stunted, and old mate Amanek, is it Amanek?
Amanek.
Yeah, he managed to capitalize on a couple of frags there on some flash Ts and put them pretty well into that round, but unfortunately... Yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Parlez-vous français. But Rick and Finesse were able to capitalize in that situation, do a good job to turn that around. That scary Deagle doing work, that P250, those upgraded pistols getting it done. And this is what I like. I enjoy this. The fact that they're going to B, they have a set plan, they're going to use their utility. They have a lot of it right now. Molotovs, flashes, smokes galore to flush out those CTs, I hope.
Whoa, good shot. Relix gets 2.
What?
And then finally goes down. That's quite good. He burns one FNS before getting the trade kill, but he's on his own. Just like that.
Look, man, I said I like that.
You move just like that.
I said I like that, but that was dumb. They had all that utility. They could have gone there and taken a duel as 5, right? All stepped out together instead of pushing up quickly. You could have seen if anybody had gone to checkers. If you did see a player go to checkers, at that point, 3 people stay gun on, 2 people use Molotovs to completely isolate that zone, smokes being thrown from Sunroom to cover off CT, and you would give yourself a free bomb site. The leftover Molotovs could be used to quickly clear out the rest of the site. Flashbangs, go on in, check your corners, plant that bomb. Almost a free round unless they've stacked it or someone does a miracle play. They all faced, pushed towards checkers, and Relix was in the perfect position. They were all looking at Amanek, and he's just going to get 3, 5, 7 kills, and that round's going to get taken away from CLG just like that.
We have a new rule we have to make, Chad.
Okay.
Every time I accidentally say FNX instead of S, you have to punch me.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not an advocate for violence.
It's not violence. It's just positive reinforcement in a negative way.
I'll get the bell tower. I'll get Yanko on the phone.
Kassad.
Yeah, you know what I meant.
Yeah.
All right, so they're going to force buy into this one. AK on Finesse. Ricky's got 1 as well. UMP on Cutler. So it's just a mixed buy across the board. Kusta finding himself left with only a Deagle. I'm assuming he dropped one of those AK-47s. And they're going to spread out and try and find some picks here with that weaponry and try and capitalize on the CT rotations. CTs are in a 2-1-2 kind of setup here. So mid would be the weakness. Both sides having 2 players well and truly rooted deep in them. And utility galore to stop any pushes or any individuals trying to go for frags.
Davuduk sitting with a flash going out. UMP at range. Manages to hit the shot onto FNS.
1 AK down. It's been retrieved by Ethan.
My boy Ethan.
Here we go, Rick.
Did you always just call him Rick?
Yeah.
Is he ridiculous in these situations?
Good one.
Just wondering if it's true or not. No push through Zed, so they'll be able to take advantage of timing to try and work into the site itself. The man who could have gone back that direction was Deveduk. He's gone to the truck instead. No rotation through Zed at all. Finally, they'll go that way. It's going to be Relix that takes over, but it's too late. ZQK gets the only kill in return. Relix goes down to Rick A, and it's going to now be inside of A.
They did a great job, you know, of isolating that fight in the side. The players weren't able to help from highway or truck, really, because of that smoke being thrown. Ricky's position as well. But it is a 2-on-2 situation, and they're coming in fast as damage is being done on both Kusta and Cutler. Amanek's going to push up onto the ladder and grab 1 kill himself. Kusta left, no armor at all. Can he find 2 frags? No, he can't. The Brazilian. How would you say his first name? C-A-I-O.
C-A-I-O?
Yeah.
Isn't that just Chow?
I don't think someone's first name would be Chow.
Yeah, why not?
Obrigado.
Xiao?
That means thank you.
C-A-I-O.
For people that don't know, he played with Fallen in the early days, right? Like this guy was in the original kind of Brazilian insurgents coming on in. Yeah.
Kaboom, and then who did they become after that?
The OG. Like let's talk about the OG. It was Fallen, And then you had the likes of ZQK, Steel, and Bolts. Steel and Bolts are now in Immortals. ZQK obviously subbing in right now. He's dropped off the face of the planet.
Fern Fallen, the only two left.
I think ZQK was originally the AWPer. Fallen wasn't AWPing at that point, right? And it's great that, you know, we have Fallen as an AWPer now. He's one of the best we have in the world. Eco coming out.
Do you know what their first event was? First international?
I know that they're at like a lot of the majors
X
with
Games.
us. Oh, that's right. You casted that.
Yeah, it was my first breakout.
Yeah.
We've risen to the top together.
You and the Brazilians.
Yeah.
Hand in hand.
They're
They're always very nice to us, aren't they?
They are actually quite nice. I do enjoy it. All of them. Including you, Chow.
The tweet's going to come in. This is how you say his name.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
Okay, so looks like just a slow-paced round of CLG. They pushed away any aggression that could come in from A main. That's happened. They don't really know where any of the CTs are. They're just peering and staying as a unit to try and close down any territory and make some frags. Heading over towards B with that bomb in hand means that is where they want to go. 52 seconds left on the clock. One guy in A main, one guy... oh, nice little flash there. Great timing on those. Amadak's going to push out. Grab one, grab another. We're doing the counting again as he gets a third.
Devilik steps in to ruin it, though. Takes down FNS, but Relic steps up. Misfits take back control. Or continue to take control, I should say, as we get into the gun round. Apparently it is Xiao. I was right with my random guess of how Portuguese works.
Okay, good one. Because for people who are going to go, why don't you just call them ZQK? It's bloody hard when you're doing play-by-play, mate, to just stop and put those three letters. It doesn't flow off the tongue. It's no JKS or AZR.
Azza?
Know what I'm saying? Azza.
Azza.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah, I get some water, mate.
Nice.
Peace.
Look back at Amaduk. This is the French players stepping up.
Yeah, that's like a really good pop flash from the site. It looks disjointed, right? The site guy can't actually help, but it's a great way to get information off that.
He helped quite a bit, though. Double flash plus molly.
Yeah, like he's helping with utility. He can't actually like immediately trade, which is not too bad. So I think we have some issues for Misfits right now. So, and a little bit of a pause. That was why we had the extended replay. But things so far not looking great for CLG. They stumbled early. Got that pistol round. Were able to pull it back from I guess, a desperate situation with Ricky and an FNS in the bomb site. Well, not in the bomb site, in the checkers area of the map. And then they had a bit of a blunder on that anti-eco. I said I loved it. I was like, this is great. Because in my mind, I was like, all right, maybe they're just going to grab Sunroom Control. They're going to take a duel with checkers players, use utility to push them out like I already talked about. We didn't see that happen. What we saw happen was run in, get shot in the head, not use any of the utility you bought, and give them the advantage.
Apparently I was wrong. It's actually Carlo.
What?
Look, I'm out. I'm done. Someone said they wanted to deport me from Brazil. It depends on where they're deporting me from. Canada, I'll stay there. If you're deporting me from the USA, you can send me anywhere. That's fine.
Someone said it is Kyle. Like K-A-H-Y-O. Sounds like Kyle.
Kyle. Yippee-ki-yo. Hey, yippee-ki-yay. Get it? The whole.
Well, what so do they call him ZQK in Brazil?
No, I'm sure they call him something else. I think it's like, I swear it was like Zakukula.
What if we call him Sequential?
Sequential? No.
Okay.
No.
You could see where I was going with that, right? All right.
Yeah.
We're back in action, Matt.
Yeah, like a modern-day Porsche.
First gun round we've got going. I talked about the default spread. Rick hits over towards B. He just postures in that area, uses his utility, forces the CTs to waste theirs. They'd be curious about checkers control, giving tabs on that part of the map. FNS actually used to do that quite well. Kusta, clearly right now you can see with that AWP, he was an A main covering off bushes there. Cutler, giving relaying information from Squeaky Dog. We're seeing a lot of defaults this event so far, Matt, and it's not uninspiring. It's great that this level of teams have these defaults down so well pat, but I would love to see just a little bit of variation, maybe a bit of innovation and a bit of pace.
Blows my mind that people think HyperX is not a good headset.
Just like my favorite spin bowler, Shane Warne.
Well, either way, double push up toward A main. No one's going to spot much. Sick tried. Kusta, AWP, finally in hand for him on the T side. Boosted up for CLG, but Relix is patient inside of the vents. No utility deployed toward him, and they're going to jump down. They're going to make noise doing it. He could strike, actually. This is why you throw that Molotov in mid. Has to pop the vent, so they'll hear it, but the question is, do they respond fast enough?
Yeah, look, he has the UMP, so the further they get away from the strike zone, the better. He will be able to pop with a fast flank, though. That's one of the positives Relics is going for him right now.
They just busted out the vent themselves, which takes away the sound cue. So he could still try and capitalize, but like you said, they've gone far away from him. And it is going to be Ethan that starts the way into the site. Kotler takes down Sick. And I'm sorry, Relics, you were a little bit late to the party, and Kusta didn't let me give you the invite anyway.
They were teammates at one point in
They
Selfless.
were, yeah.
So you saw what happened there. This is my biggest concern for their map like this is CT's not playing with information. I said, well, most maps, right? If you have a decent crossfire setup where every base is covered, and when they pick in, you will make those frags, that's great. And you have contingencies for even if you lose that first one, you're able to trade as in a man advantage from there. But you see, Ethan, simple as that, walked up highway, not a care in the world. He's able to take angles, take duels as he wanted, no AWP to push him back off angles, finds two quick frags, opens up the bomb site, the rest of his teammates come in, they find 6 stranded at forklift. He's going to go down eventually if the spacing by CLG was good, which it was, and that's the bomb site. Put a bow on it.
If you like it, then you should have put a bomb on it.
All right. So we are having a little pause once more. There's a microphone issue, so that's no problem. I'll fix that one right up. But that's a good gun round out of CLG, and this is the stuff I was talking about when I watch these guys. Their structure, that default. It's just the way that they approach the game in that regard allows utility to be expended, and from there they're able to take duels in an even kind of distribution. You know, it's just a heads-up fight in that regard. We are all going to see a gun round coming out of the boys from Misfits still. AWP on, I'm going to call him Kyle, on Kyle. And we have enough money on Relics and old mate Devo to get a buy. Here's the names. We're going to go Australian. You ready?
Okay, do it. I'm ready.
Ammo.
Ammo.
Sicko.
Sicko.
Devo.
Devo.
Relly.
Really?
And Kyle.
There's always a Kyle.
Well, Matt, how do you do it? How do you do it with half these names?
I just make them up, hope I'm right.
No, but like, even if you're saying it right, you're going to stumble over them.
Nah, you just go with it.
Okay.
You do it in a strictly, like, you don't look at the signified, you just simply take it as a sign. Does that make sense? You don't think about what you're saying, you just take it at face value.
I'm getting free casting lessons.
Yeah. Yeah, you should pay me, you're right. Sorry. I'm going to stop now.
No, you don't do anything for free.
Sometimes I do.
So, yeah, I know you were talking about the HyperX headsets, Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
They're very easy to change the microphone if you have an issue. Just pull it out, plug it in a new one.
It's true. I mean, look, I do really like the Cloud 2s. I haven't played enough with the Revolver. They feel way more solid than they look. Like, at first I was like, they went back to plastic, like, all the way around. I'm not stoked on it. There actually is a metal lacing through the inside of it, and they're solid. They're pretty good. I don't know the difference in sound quality between the two, though.
I thought you liked them thick. No, that's me.
Okay. I like them ergonomic, you know? The feel is everything.
No, you're about the visuals.
Yeah, to some extent, that's true.
The sleekness.
Yeah, it's got to look good. It's got to definitely have an element of design that is minimalistic in some ways. No abnormalities to it.
And you're all about the power to weight ratio.
Yeah, that is true. I got to get another 50 pounds to 100 pounds out of the car, speaking of that.
How many do you reckon you could lose?
20 if I tried super hard.
So that's roughly, I'm just spitballing, it's roughly 10 kilos for those people who don't live in
it's like
the imperial
8.7
land.
kilo, I think.
Get on the metric
No,
lifestyle.
maybe it's the other way around. I can't remember.
Why is Canada not metric? What are you guys doing with
We
your
are
life?
actually metric.
Why are you saying pounds then?
Because, unfortunately, that's the one thing we carried over.
God damn.
Sorry about that.
So you're kilometers an hour?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep, kilometers an hour. We also do
Centimeters,
measurements.
millimeters.
We also do foot. So I'm 5'11", 5'10". I'm 100, but I know I'm 177 centimeters.
The weird thing is, right, in
It could
Australia...
be worse. I could say I'm this many stone. Okay, what kind of stone? Like, is that a slate stone?
Yeah.
Cobblestone?
In Australia, so with measurements, it's metric. But when we talk about height, we still do it in feet. And
Yeah,
inches.
exactly.
And then with babies, when babies are born, we still do that in, like, how many pounds?
Someone asked me what Porsche I would have since the PDK models are trash. If I couldn't have a GT3 RS, definitely a GT4. Cayman GT4. I turn off the auto blip though.
Are we at
I like
Jinx?
to do my own heel toe.
Are we at Jinx, by the way? Because delays have come in both times.
Yeah, I know. No, that's
For
fine.
us.
That's fine. He has 18. Does he just go in knife bots? That's the most amount of knife kills I've ever seen on a stat track.
Stat track for knife kills.
I
with
know,
bots.
obviously.
But you think about how they always knife in like FPL and stuff.
Do those count?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe. That makes sense. That actually is true because then you're forced to
Because
get.
you think
knife
about how
kills.
many games these guys play.
1,862 knives. That's more kills than I have on my AK. That's not true, actually.
No, I didn't think that was
I
true.
have 20,000.
Damn, Daniel.
Damn, I know. Then you're like Shroud that has like 300,000.
Yeah, for the love of the game. That's how you do it, man. That's how you grind. All right, looks like it's fixed because everyone's now board up in the server. And they are saying ready to go in the little chat.
Daysu, you've had some time to see it. Now you're being reintroduced to it. How do you like the HUD?
I like it, yeah. I'm a big
think
fan
it's
of it. I think there's probably more little treats that the guys from PGL are going to have for us in the coming weeks before the major. So I'm excited to see how they build on it and what they change. And it's great, that people are actually trying to change the way that we view the game instead of just being stuck in the mud. So got another gun round coming out here as AWP will be in the hands of Kusta and Kyle. Hello.
No one. Someone said except America. Except for America. I get what he's saying.
So that was pretty nice, Matt. He just found a free kill through the smoke, giving a 4v5 advantage straight to the side of CLG really early on. And now they're making a decision quickly. FNS has made a decision. They want to hit that A bomb site. FNS and Ricky in A main. And we have the encroaching ZQK pushing Squeaky Door.
He's got a good angle on this too. But Kusta's the other opper. And both are willing to be patient to hold their respective angles.
It's a virtue.
More favorable, though, is ZQK's because eventually the terrorists have to go that direction. Or do they? He's got himself stuck in the door.
He doing?
How did he manage that? He was actually physically stuck, I think, at the first time he opened it, and then reopened it, made another noise, and they just pounced on him. But this is sick. Brrr. He's almost the bird flu as he gets one, but it's taken down by Ethan. Good response from him, actually. I thought he was going to get taken down, back turned around quad, and then comes back around, makes the kill happen. Smoke off, Devitt can't get through. It's the French duo to try and take back 3 players on the CLG side with bomb ticking. It has been for about 25% of its life. Eminux got FNS down, flashes off though, manages to somehow burrow in behind the forklift. But the Flames hot, limiting him in place. Gonna take a few ticks from that, but runs back across. They can't do anything about this, no way. They've got kits, but they've got to get kills immediately. They're close enough that if Devitt can get in position fast, they might be able to do it. They still go in. No kills there. Cutler wins both.
Ooh la la, monsieur. That round got close.
Ooh, and Cutler survived, just barely.
So this is going to break the economy of the majority of players on Misfits. We still have enough money for them to do some kind of a half buy, maybe, just a cheeky bit of pistol armor. The issue is you have enough money on players like Amanek to buy, and you could probably scrape together some guns with Sick and Devil Vec. But it looks like they've opted to go with just a few pistol upgrades, armor on the guys with a little bit more money, and now once more the default ensues. Got the replay on screen there of ZQK winning that little exchange, but it wasn't to be as he got stuck in Squeaky like you very astutely pointed out. This default can be so boring to play against, especially if you don't have any CT moves to do, right? If you don't have anything in the bank, you don't have any aggression, any way to take this away, and you don't know how to react properly. And Ricky's scoping out, he's seen pistol in hand, so now they'll know that it is going to be an eco. And Mac is not afraid to take this fight. He will take a bit of damage there, which means maybe he should rethink that decision. And FNS is now taking another part of the map for the boys of CLG. That's a sick pop flash he's about to do, by the way.
Bounce off backside and then lands in the doorway.
Yeah, it's great. The first team I saw doing that was actually one of the Chinese teams. It was either Tyloo or Vici Gaming, and they used it when they didn't execute. And it was a great way for them to enter onto the bomb.
Thought Devitt was going to hit that shot. They're already inside. He's reloading. Can't get FNS, but can tell Sick that he's on the way. Gun so close to Sick, but it's still out of reach because he's being watched from 2 different angles. It's teammate swings in, gets a kill, gets the gun. That's exactly what he wanted. His teammate baits for him in that regard, and unfortunately, Six is still the only one left, so CLG goes up one round, 4-3. It's closer than I would have expected. Misfits obviously having the good start, having won the eco, though. It's been all CLG since, and they're back in a position to buy now. Oh, yeah, they are.
Just a point to make there, Matt, when you see Kuz to get that kill from forklift on any type of A execute that you're doing, I would always recommend getting your AWPer to that forklift position. It's so powerful. You can jump up on top of it, get onto cap, play behind it, juke through it, and able to pick up a lot of kills from that powerful position. So when you have an execute and you're deciding which players are going to run there, I'd be sending your AWP player to that spot on the map for sure on this T side. Looks like the Checkers control is going to come in, and he has a buddy this time, old mate Ricky. Amanek doesn't have an issue playing up close. That AWP shot will ring off. That'll let him know things have been changed up a little bit. Not going to pick off the back of that, and lucky he didn't because Kusta was ready and waiting to put him down. Deep smoke coming out from his teammate, which is going to delay another 20 seconds with his B presence. Kusta thinks better of it, and it's going to drop back and find a pick somewhere else. I'm getting better at this.
Yeah, you're doing all right. I'm just leaving it to you. Feel free to tap me in every time you're tapping out. Ethan. Pretty straightforward. The default bomb back behind the truck. Interesting spot to leave the bomb, actually. And obviously, FNS didn't like it there. Double boost. No Molotov again toward vent this time around, but fortunate for them, no one's inside of the vent on the CT side. In fact, they've given up mid almost in its entirety. A very passive mid hold. Devatek could try to retake it through Zed. Smoke down. It's really a tough thing to do. No information. This should be another A take.
Same thing as before, Matt. Full mid control, no information, just playing passive, going, well, we're going to hope we can hold. And the problem here is if all 5 Ts encroach on your bomb site, you're going to get traded out.
QK can't hit the first one, though. That's information gathered, but it's already too late. They're already on highway. Devatek wants to make sure they're not going to wrap onto him. Thankfully, his teammate gets out of B in time, and he's able to find Ricky. That's going to be smart, but not enough just yet to secure a safe passage to the A side on retake. Flank coming in for Relics. Problem is that it's being watched. Kusta's standing by the lockers, and I'm sure that he's staring down the doorway. They're already in an exchange. So too is Devatek. He wins his, unfortunately. Ethan lost the other. Rather, Kusta won the other. You know what I mean.
I'm with you.
We're all on the same page.
They're going to save again, which is a smart call. Live to fight another day, just like the French normally. And that AWP, I hope, gets used a little bit more aggressively going into the next gun round, right? Once again, passive. Gets caught out, loses the trade. Bomb site given away. Number advantage to CLG. They're happy to trade out evenly, or, you know, even with just a one-man advantage. Play the afterplant perfectly and win a round. On the desk, they were talking about how Misfits would probably have a pretty trash CT side. And you know, we're seeing them just playing very standard. That's what they're doing right now. They are going to have a rough time mixing it up with aggression. It's like that Peacemaker's going to have to explain to them, and maybe in this pause that they've taken right now, he can give them a stroke of genius and a way to approach this. But CLG, if you want to watch a team who can grind out a default, watch these guys, because that's what they're running. And that's what they've been running for such a long period of time. They do this very well. And the way that they react off of certain situations and the decision-making they have is fantastic. A few things to keep in mind. Make sure you relay that information to your in-game leader. It's one of the most important little facets of doing a default.
No one ever told you that, did they? They never relayed the information.
No, they did. My team was good at defaulting.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. It was just me making the frags that was the issue. So we are going to see a little bit of an investment from the players on Misfits behind the 2 weapons they have. Nothing too extreme. They could have force bought, you know, some other weapons and utility behind that. And once again, boost is going to come up from Ethan. Molotov to land. Look at this. It's terrible. That Molotov is not deep enough, which means not only can they stay on the boost, they can pick behind it. And a lot of the time, if players are missing that Molotov, they think it's safe. They're stepping up behind it and they're getting killed. So Devatek might not be expecting someone already to be in the position that Cutler has found himself in, but with help this time in middle, could get a little bit more interesting. Look at fight, dude.
Yeah, backs off with help and then backs away. They've got 2 with pistols. He has an M4. I would have liked to have seen him stay around. The AWP, rather, is ticking down to 21 already. There he goes. K gone, M4 gone. Really aggressive peek from the pistols for not much reason. It's just sick, and left, and Amanek on the AWP is going to try and stay alive, stay over toward B. There's no need to even test this. M4 picked up at least for sick, but they'll have heard that. Cutler's just on the other side of it, so they're already pursuing him. Can't afford to push through smoke, obviously, but round done. CLG up 6-3.
they had to do something, right? Like, they had to stay together and do, like, some form of an aggressive move, and that's what they did there. Unfortunately, I think, like, Devadek was only rotating back in. I'm calling Devavek. Anyway, he was rotating back in a little bit late, right? And I wouldn't want him to start that duel, but by the time he picked, it was just a bit of spray transfer, and he went down quick as that. Amanek's going to find another one. That's 2 for him for the round, but the AWP will go down. That means he can't carry that across into this next round, and it will be a buy from Misfits, as we see Sick quickly pressing that key and grabbing that M4, and everyone else will follow suit. Now, this is where Misfits need to maybe get let off the leash that they've put themselves on. I'm not sure if they're nervous or too worried about it, but you need to freestyle a little bit here. It doesn't need to be super early aggression, because like I said, CLG's default is very very good, very well structured. Maybe do some mid-round transition. Seen a little bit out of the B players, but nothing too much out of the T's.
Just before the flash lands, Amanek takes down Kusta, so the AWP better start this time for Misfits. Interesting thing as well as Amanek on the AWP means ZQK, as you mentioned. Previously the op player for Kaboom, Keat Stars. He's on a rifle.
Yeah, relegated to that rifle, but it seems like it could be used well over that B site with that opening, especially. And I think he's hit more AWP shots so far than ZQK, who only has 3 frags, Amanek on 12. So he's done a little bit more work so far in the early stages. Ricky has picked it up, more than capable to wield that weapon. Well versed in the school of the AWP. Flashy. Anything else you want to know?
No, actually I didn't want to know any of that to begin with, so we'll leave it there.
Once again, mid-control for free, Matt. How do you feel about that?
I don't.
You got to pay
I think
tolls to drive on certain freeways and highways. These guys are getting mid every single time.
Yeah, no, it's not good. It's you can definitely do it every now and then if you want to get aggressive in B or A, but they're not even doing that. They're just playing passive with no information, as you said previously. FNS is not only going to get mid, he's going to go straight through it. This time it's watch those. ZQK wins the duel. At least he can call their push back, if there's anything in that. Bomb to B. 2 players inside of the site. Smoke down. 1 player elevating himself above it to try and see beyond. That's Relics. Amanek, meanwhile, missing a shot on Ethan. He's going to have a Molotov land. Relics hits the return. Amanek pops back up. Can't quite catch the flick, and the Molotov's too deep, so he's got lots of time to work with.
Why wasn't Relics helping?
I have no idea.
You could see, you would have been able to see on the radar he's in the open, right?
Yeah.
The interesting thing there was that was almost like a double pump onto that B site. So they used all that utility, and they still had a bit left in reserve to actually smoke off the choke points and go again, and you see that come in. But I think what they were hoping was going to happen was when they executed a player, ZQK would have been the perfect example, would have rotated into the line of sight of FNS, which at that point would have given them the man back, so it would have been a 4v4, and a chance to pincer B from multiple different locations and really make those guys in the site sweat. But it wasn't to be, as FNS went down. But they are able to afford some weapons. The double AWP setup is now happening for Misfits. This is good. But Amanek is doing exactly what we said Misfits need to do if they want rounds, and that's have individual performances. A nice little, I think it was a 4K from him actually. So good few AWP shots from him. Default again. Watching the grass grow. Watching the paint dry.
Yeah, knew you were going to go there.
The problem with this style of Counter-Strike, Matt, is it's great if you love fundamental CS, which I do more than anything.
But it's a little bit slower.
To cast, it's not.
And it's fine. No, it's good. This is where you get to flourish.
I like flowers.
Looking at the bloomed smoke. Speaking of flowers, Relics has gotten at least into B main this time, but it's still not information. It's just a slightly more forward position. A lead off again toward the truck. No one in mid. I don't even think we need to mention it. How about we mention only when they are in mid from now on?
Sure.
Nice. Less words I have to say. Don't get paid by the word, so I don't mind. Could you imagine if I got paid by the word? I'd never stop talking.
I'd probably get paid not to speak. Looks like it's going to be an A execute here as the bomb is in squeaky door. There's 24 seconds left on the clock. Anything is possible as Finesse jumps across. It's going to be delayed by this Molotov, which is going to make this attack very late.
Yeah, that's the problem. So they have no information, and yet they've given them this time advantage to work with. It's a lot of pressure on CLG almost for no reason. Look at how fast Ricky has to rush into the site, and he's got to get kills behind and in front of him. Fortunately, his team did a number of it. FNS gets 2 coming out from the doorway, so all he really had to focus on was truck, but he wasn't sure of that at the time, and they'll win the round. Just barely. I'm surprised, considering how late they left it.
Great entries there by, well, I guess great sight frags there by Finesse, as he's able to take down 2 and get that bomb down just in the nick of time. I think that's probably 6 seconds as it was getting planted. So they didn't really sweat there, did they? I would have been getting a bit worried, a little bit hot under the collar, but no dramas there. But, you know, once again, no information. It means you have to play a 2-1-2 kind of setup, or, you know, 3A with 1 guy watching highway, 2 guys in the B side, especially when you're going to get split on from checkers. It's always a good idea. If you know you can get split on from checkers, to maybe have 2 guys in the site or play retake. And that's something which teams need to probably get back into their repertoire. Virtus Pro used to do a really nice B retake. Have a guy spotting at the start of the round, checking out early aggression. When he would get pushed off and pushed away, he wouldn't stay on the side on his own because he knew how easy it was to get isolated. Dropping right back into spawn, playing that tree area. And then when the execute came in, he wasn't too worried because the teammates would hold on to utility. They'd even do sometimes a 4A stack. And from there, they could go back to B, have set smoke, smoking off B main, and the checkers door. Utility used onto the bomb site to flush out any remaining little crumbs. And in they'd scamper and get the cheese. Right reference game on point.
Yeah, no, it was great. I was listening the whole time, very attentive, and I thank you for your informant. The fact of the matter is, if you leave it at play that late and you're confident enough you're going to get the kills, that won't work against better teams.
For shizzle.
The fact that you get 3 entries that cleanly isn't going to happen every time. If they even drop the bomb in that situation, just 1 kill is all it takes from CT side, and things get really awkward.
Delta just tweeted a picture of a bunch of people holding a map GIF on a fire. It looks like they're burning the world. That's not a great GIF.
Does that mean that their navigation system's not working? What does that even mean?
It just means, I don't know.
Anyway. They want to watch the world burn?
Probably. Does sound like a Delta thing to do. Orb back in the hands of Amanek as he's back towards the B site once more. Done an aggressive B smoke, which means he can take control and push right up. There's 2 reactions you can have right now. You're going to assume that the CTs are going to push up and take that, so you quickly go to another part of the map. And that would be, in this situation, running into the hands of Misfits as they have 4 players leaning towards that A-bomb site. Or you take the risk and you flash push through this smoke. The smoke is already dissipated and the Ts have still just postured. But middle, once more, is the first objective. The first little line of attack for CLG.
So, again, they walk out. Single smoke to cover off the CTs, but look at the stack. Could they be walking into the beehive?
Buzz.
They might be. They might be, but they're still getting the kills. As always, FNS Cutler, Ethan, they're going to go 8-4. No way. This changes.
No, that's you're right. Never doubt yourself, Matthew. The thing there, once more, is Misfits. No information from middle. They were playing a stacked